Right, hi everyone, I've just finished this painting. It's for stormy sky. I've got the rain falling down. So in this video I'm going to explain just exactly how I painted this. I've painted it in oils. It's quite a tricky technique really. You need a lot of patience. So I hope you get some benefit from this video. Enjoy it. Thank you. Right, for the sky I'm using a mix of Payne's Grey and Titanium White. It's just a little bit stiff, I think, is that? I don't need to put any mineral spirits in there, I just might do. Dilute it a little bit. I'm quite happy putting mineral spirits in with this, just for the first coat. I'm just going to start adding some white in here. Very difficult to judge the correct value until the paint's actually on your panel. I just want to get this sort of darkish here just close to the horizon, just coming into the light here. This is where the light is in the sky. I'm going to put some darker clouds here with the rain falling down. Now the inspiration for this painting comes from this reference photograph here. Now I won't be doing exactly the same. You can see the sun hitting the barley fields. I just want to get this sort of like a sort of stormy sky going with the rain just coming down. So that's the idea. That's what I'm looking for with this sky. Not too thin, not too thick. Just got to be careful when I'm applying this. If I apply it too fast and just slap it on, I'll get splashes down into this part here, which is what I don't want. It just makes more work for myself. Now I don't want to put too much detail in the sky, it really is just about getting the atmosphere. So I've already got a small splash there. There we go. Gone. Right, now with a clean brush, I'm using Mottler brushes for this sky. It's a 2-inch brush. Try and start getting this sort of nice effect with the rain coming down. Now this has to be done fairly quickly. I don't want to be doing this when it's starting to dry, really. Right, now that's what I'm looking for, is just get that sort of nice and blended there. Now hopefully if I just turn that brush round and see if I can start just bringing some of this down. I know I'm getting some white up here. Just wipe the brush every time I brush down, so I'm not putting too much white into that darker part of the sky. See, I'm having to use fresh brushes on this because, as you can see, the brush I originally used to put this on, if I started using this, it's just There's too much colour on it and it's too wet. This was started with a dry, fresh brush. As the brush is getting more wet with the paint, it's just not quite as smooth with the brush marks. Oh, this is what I want. I don't want that really. Might have to get another brush out. This sort of technique as well does vary depending on how wet the paint is and the paint consistency as well. If the paint consistency is too thick, it tends to drag and pull. Right, now I'm going to start using a 3-inch modeler brush. Just get rid of some of those brush marks. Again, I'm just wiping the excess paint off, just wiping the paint off with a paper towel. And I'm only using one side of the brush. And when that becomes too wet, I'll turn it over. This is what I'm looking for here. I just want to get a bit, come down a little bit more here, so I'm just going to go a bit higher in the sky and drag a little bit more of this grey down. It's actually, it's not too easy to do, is this? It's quite difficult. It does take a bit of practice, because well, sometimes I can do this and it just, you know, with my paint consistency, something just isn't just quite right, then it just doesn't work. Just get the 2-inch brush out again. Right, well, that side's fairly wet. Now I'm going to start using the drier part. I'm going to go up this time. Now, if you do try this yourself, please don't get too disheartened if it doesn't work out, because trust me, it's really not easy as this. It's quite difficult to do. And well, not so much that it's difficult to do, it just takes practice. That's what I should say. It takes practice and a lot of techniques with painting. It's not about, you know, whether you're able to do it, or it really just comes down to practice, you know. So with anything, if you, you know, there's no such word as sort of can't really when it comes to certain parts of paintings. You just have to practice. I'm not sure I want this sort of rain coming down too straight. That just got a bit of a curve on it here. See what it looks like. So there's sort of, the wind is sort of just pushing that falling rain to one side. Right, another clean brush, back to a 2-inch one again. I just want to be careful. I want to get this light here. I just want to get that really sort of nice and white and nice and bright, really. I don't want any brush marks in this part. I see, I've just lifted some of that down to here, you see. This is what you've got to be careful of. That lack of concentration, and that's what happens. See if I can just blend that back in down here. That's gone in alright. Painting skies like this can be very frustrating. You've got to really be very patient. I mean, when I first started doing it, I found it so difficult. Well, there are some brush marks around here. I don't mind some brush marks, I quite like that. Now, if I wanted to get rid of some of these here, now, the other option is using a fan brush. Fan brushes are great, but you need a good quality one. This is a Kolinsky Sable one, very nice and soft. And I can just brush over that. And just take some of those harder brush marks away. And as soon as it starts getting loaded with paint, and there's just too much paint on the brush, then it just doesn't really work as well. That's the only trouble with fan brushes. They're great when you first start using them, and as soon as you get paint in the bristles, they're completely useless. So if I'm using them, having to use them on certain areas of a painting, I tend to have quite a few of them. They're good for as well, if I get marks like this, which I just have done there, I can just brush those marks out like that. I can get very frustrated with fan brushes. I did have some that weren't quite as good a quality, and I just threw them in the bin. Couldn't be doing with them at all. I'm happy with that now. I'm going to leave that now, but I just need to do something with this top part of this sky really. Get some of these clouds at the top just look like they might just be falling a little bit with the rain. I quite like this area where it's dark and it just comes down. It's just looking a little bit light here for me. I just want to darken this area a little bit. I've just got to be careful here that I don't completely mess up this sky. I've done that before now. I'll just take it very slowly. Alright, just try and blend that with this fan brush. I can see this brush now, I can see it's getting too loaded with paint really, so it's not really suitable for blending anymore really. So right, I'm just going to bring some of this side down. What I'm trying to do is just want to darken these two areas slightly, so I just want to get the focus of the light coming here. The light shining off that a little bit, so if I just tilt it forward, you can probably just see the sky there without the light shining off it. So, right, okay, I'm just going to mark in this horizon line here now. So I'll need a little bit more Payne's grey. Right, you can see in the reference photograph there's just some distant hills in the background. Again, I don't want to be putting too much detail in here. I want to do this really when the sky's wet, because part of the horizon will be blended into the sky as the rain hits the horizon. Filbert size 6 for these hills in the horizon. It's a nice soft brush this. I like using these soft synthetic brushes. They're great for blending. actually picking a little bit of Payne's grey off this part here to put on this horizon here. It's actually a better way of doing it, because if I was to go to my palette, I might end up overloading the brush. As you can see, I don't want to be doing that at this stage. I'm hardly putting any paint on at all. I'd like to get this bit just to disappear into this sky. Oops. Keep this horizon line very, very soft. I'm just going to put this sort of base, as you can see on the reference photograph, these sort of barley fields, sort of like really, the yellows and the oranges and the reds really sing with the evening sunlight. So I'm just going to put some yellow on here as a base coat, and I think we'll call it a day for the first session. Now I'm just adding some Indian yellow here, mixed with liquid and a couple of drops of mineral spirits. Right, slightly larger brush, I think it's a size 12, I think, this brush. Well, that Payne's grey is still very wet, so I'm just going to get a smaller brush. I'll just edge my way up slowly towards the wet Payne's grey. They are going to mix together eventually. Like that. Doesn't matter too much. I just don't want too much Payne's grey coming down this part here. I think I'll put some transparent red iron oxide just along here where the yellow and the Payne's grey meet. I'm just wondering if I can just go over this line here with a fan brush. Right, that's the end of this session. I'll have to wait for this to dry before I can finish this foreground off. Okay, to finish this painting off, I'm using a Payne's grey, a yellow ochre, a titanium white and a transparent red iron oxide. Now, the Payne's grey I'm using here is a Winsor & Newton one. As you can see from these two samples here, this is a Winsor & Newton and it's quite blue. This is a Michael Hoyding and it's almost got a greeny tinge to it. This is the one I use for the sky. So depending on what sort of brand of paint you use, there are sometimes subtle differences in the colour. So I'm just suggesting these trees in. There's not going to be a lot of detail again. Now you notice, if you look at the reference photograph here, I'm not following the photograph at all. Just apart from the colours, general feel of the picture. I'm just putting the trees just wherever I feel like. So I quite like the softness of these here, so I just soften these up. Just a little bit of titanium white just to suggest a building here. Again, I don't want to do any detail. Maybe one or two suggestions of buildings in the distance. Just going to add a little bit more yellow ochre on some of these trees, just for one or two highlights. A suggestion of some of the tree trunks. Just a slight suggestion is all that's needed. Right, I'm going to put some diluted transparent red iron oxide down here. So just going to add some mineral spirits. Just adding a little bit of extra mineral spirits. I just want to get those sort of drips coming down. I just like that. It just adds a little bit of interest to the foreground. I'm just going to add some more Indian yellow. Just want to highlight this area a little bit. Mix this with some titanium white. Right, so I might just use an extra long filbert here. That's number 4. I love these brushes. Now I just want to scumble this light yellow across here. See if it works. It might not. I should really wait for it to dry before I do this, but I don't have the patience or the time.